Welcome everybody to our WEEA Leadership Roundtable. I can't believe we're already at number 23. That seems outrageous to me. That WEEA was started in 2018 by a very enthusiastic science teacher, and we took it in 2020 and started with WEEA Leadership Roundtable 8, I think. And here we are almost 6 years later. We've grown from 20 organizations participating in SoCal to more than 300 across the state. So very excited about that. And I'm sharing that with this group, particularly I noticed with with our registration that we have a lot of new folks joining the conversation. I'm so excited about that. So what we typically do, you have joined the meeting. Please introduce yourself in the chat. Let everybody know who you are. Welcome our newbies. And if you're new, please reach out to some of the folks that have been here for a while and ask questions throughout. I'm going to have a little update, some house cleaning stuff for you so you kind of know how to navigate this meeting. But my name is Tiffany Baca. I am the Education and Workforce Development Manager at the Municipal Water District of Orange County. That is a new title. I have been in communications almost 20 years here at MODOC, but assumed leadership of WEEA again, 2020, the height of the pandemic, and things have just exploded. And so the work that we've done through WEEA and the emphasis we're putting on our education programs have allowed us to create a brand new division. And I'm very pleased to lead that division, in addition to being the executive director of WEEA. Anytime you need to contact me, you have my email address. You have all gotten or received an email from me at some point. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here probably. Also, connect with me on LinkedIn. We do try and share a lot of resources. And in the new fiscal year, which begins in July, we're going to start ramping up our polling. We've got a lot of great insights from some of the work that we've done over the last year. And we'd like to start reaching out more broadly and getting more information. As always, I want to give a huge shout out to our WEEA sponsors. These are the guys that allow us to continue to do this work and to continue to share with you, to invite you to the table to participate so we can all learn together. So big shout out to MODOC, to the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California, Tomorrow's Talent, Water Replenishment District, Eastern Municipal Water District, Inland Empire Utilities Agency, Molten Miguel Water District, Western Water. Also, the California Environmental Education Foundation is a supporter, as are California community colleges. The really cool thing about sponsorship, if you're interested in becoming a sponsor, our new fiscal year starts July 1st. So you just head on over to our website, and I believe those links are getting dropped into the chat. You can learn more about sponsorship. You can have access to our reports, as well as previous meeting recordings and invitations to the next Leadership Roundtable. Lots of stuff on that page, and we're going to grow that out next year too. I want to call your attention to some of the information that we're going to have on each of the slides. We've pulled out some of the more significant notes from our Water UCI research report, and that was done in partnership with the Water Energy Education Alliance, or WEEA, and Water UCI. They've become an exceptional partner, have allowed us to really engage and interact directly with students who are researching workforce development and the water workforce in general. So you're going to see a lot more of Water UCI. We have students who participate in this meeting, and they're going to do some additional work on the report that they've already launched, that again dive a little bit deeper into the polls and the data that they've collected and just make this report even more robust. But at this time, if you take a look at some of those call outs, you're going to get real clear about the gist of the report, even though it is, I'm not even sure exactly how many pages, 8 pages maybe. It's a quick read, but this will help you kind of navigate that with some clarity. Okay. Our guidelines, very simple. And again, most of our people who've been here a while do know what these guidelines look like. But for our newbies in Zoom, please make sure your screen name is correct and include your organization. Sometimes we'll call on you and you'll have your husband's name or your wife's name or your colleague's name or even a phone number, and that makes it a little challenging for us to navigate the meeting. We do ask that everybody remain muted unless presenting or asking a question. Reserve the chat for comments. And this is a very unique community. We do encourage you to participate and engage with each other in the chat throughout the meeting. There are a lot of people here who have a lot of resources, who have a lot of experience, and many also have a lot of challenges that they need help with. So we'll never host this meeting as a webinar. We really highly encourage that participation in the chat. Raise your hand if you have a question and do that via the Zoom application. And we'll, if you can't find the hand button, don't worry, just give us a shout out and we're going to help you along. And this is what our agenda looks like today. It's always nice to kind of get a look out at what to expect, particularly since this meeting is a little bit longer. And we've looked at shortening the meeting. It's just designed in such a way that people can participate at their own pace in the items that are most important to them. And some people really do just stay for the regional breakouts, which is absolutely fine. Or, we understand busy schedules, but this is what our day looks like today. We're doing welcomes and introductions. We'll do a quick icebreaker. We have a good news and announcements segment, and our sponsor spotlight with the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California. They are a sponsor and have been since 2018. They are a wonderful addition to the WEEA family, and we learn an awful lot from what they're doing. And we're hoping that the things that we're going to share with you today, or they're going to share with you, you can take and learn from that as well, and also gain some new contacts and some new information. At 10:15, we'll do a Q&A, so you can think about what questions you might want to ask our speakers. We had a couple of questions sent to me via email, so I have some additional questions, but obviously we want to hear from you. At 10:30, we have one of the student researchers who will report briefly on the Water UCI research report summary. So he's going to kind of go through some of the stuff to prepare us for those breakout rooms. 11 o'clock, we'll have break, and then we'll break into our regional groups. And we do have 5 at this time. We've combined NorCal and statewide, but we do these breakout rooms so that you have an opportunity to meet with people in your area with the exact same challenges, who may have resources that directly impact you that you can learn from, but you can also partner with, right? So these are folks that are on the same trajectory right in your own backyard. 10:50, we'll do a quick share out, and then at 12, we'll close. So I'm going to jump to our icebreaker, and please share your response in the chat. This is really interesting because when we ask our water industry and energy industry professionals, and we've asked thousands of them, did you know you were getting into water early on in your education? Did you go to school because you knew that water was in your future, water or energy was in your future? And over the years and over the thousands of people we've talked to, we can count those individuals on 6 fingers. So we want to change that, right? This is something that is really important, and that's why our presentation today is so important, because we really need to start introducing these careers early on. Students and young people need to see what their future looks like and see themselves in it, and that's part of what we do here. So what's one person, experience, or opportunity that helped shape your career path? What or who changed your direction or gave you some idea about where you were going to be? It could be a parent who we do hear that, oh, my mom or my dad had a career in utilities or water or was an engineer. It could be that I was in school and, there was a booth, or I just jumped in and saw the job posting and, here I am. I really didn't have any idea what I wanted to do. Could be a career counselor. And then the second part of this icebreaker is, what's one thing we can do to help create those moments for others? And this really does speak to our mentorship efforts, right? And we hear from a lot of people that they'd like to participate in mentorships. They don't have time, or they don't have a formal program. But, we can invest in 5 minutes if someone reaches out to us on LinkedIn, perhaps. And I say that because I hear from students, I've reached out to a lot of people and I don't get any response. So I'd love to hear from this community. What do you think we can do to create that for other people? Let's see what we got. Okay, an opportunity that helped shape my path was a high school internship teaching environmental education. And what we can do is help create more early, meaningful, supported paid work. I love that paid work. A former boss, internships. There were lots of roles that they realized later. Watching my older brother struggle in traditional school system that didn't recognize how bright and capable he was. I'm a big advocate for recognizing and empowering people to see their future. I love that. I started a career as a consultant and had the opportunity to work in both utility and several water districts. I love that. Supported me in refining my technical communication skills, talking at elementary schools, teaching the kids about water. So there are a lot of things that we can do that maybe we need to invest a little bit more in. High school internship, a friend who started out doing an internship. And I can see a teacher here who has made a tremendous impact in a lot of young students' lives simply by recognizing that they're there and celebrating their accomplishments and the things that they hope to do. So thank you for that. I really appreciate your insight. Let's move on to good news and announcements. So for those in the room that have participated, you know this is an open forum. If you have anything that you'd like to share that you think this community could benefit from, or you just want to celebrate, that's really what we're here for. I know we have one person, I'm not sure if he's here, who sent me something in advance. So let's see if we have any other hands who would like to share good news and announcements. Maybe you have an upcoming event. Maybe you just completed something that was significant. If we have a water replenishment district in the room, they just hosted a career networking event where about 150 students were in the room, and that's really significant. I see one hand. All right. Nick, I'm going to skip you because you have some visuals. Let's start with Melita.
Hello, everybody. For those that don't know me, for the new people, I'm Alita Caldwell Bettis, San Bernardino Valley College, faculty chair of the Water Supply Technology Program. Just want to share with you our greatest innovation with respect to educating those that are in the industry. Our baccalaureate degree program is moving forward. For those of you that are interested, I think I put a link in the uh, chat so that you will be available. But we do have a baccalaureate degree program in water resource management. We're the first community college to be able to offer this program. We're training not only the entry level people that are entering the industry, but our goal is to also to train the future leaders. The registration process has begun, and we're excited. The first class is going to start fall 2026. It is a cohort model, accelerated. Our goal is to get students in and get them out within a couple of years, and it's specifically for training those managers, bridging that guide. So we're excited about that, and I'll put that information in the chat. And if you guys got any additional questions, I'm available. I will answer them for you. So great adventure, excited, and I appreciate WEEA's support in this model. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Melita. We love hearing about all the work that you're doing. You're really advancing the opportunities for young people, and again, allowing them to grow, not just enter, but also grow in their profession. And that is a model that we should all pay attention to, right? Because there's the entry portion, but then there's also what happens next. And most young people who get in the door also want to see themselves down the line doing more. So thank you for what you do, Melita. I appreciate that. Gracia.
Hi, everyone. My name is Grecia Pacheco, and I work for the Tulare County Office of Ed in Central Valley, so Visalia area. And I just wanted to give you a quick update of a really cool program that we did. I think at the last meeting we were at, I shared a little bit of the planning for a new event where we showcase and careers in energy, environment, and utilities for students across the Central Valley. So we had Tulare County Office of Ed and Kern County Office of Ed do a career exploration type of event for 240 students from Merced all the way to El Tejon School District. So it was really cool because it was the first of its kind. We called it Power the Valley. And one of the really cool, connections we had was with the South Cal Edison. So they hosted the event at the Education Center. And one of the most popular, after we did the survey, one of the most popular sessions we had, the students call out a lot of the water technician programs that they have at Edison. So there was a huge interest, a huge, excitement about this growing sector in the valley. So I'm excited to do this event again next year and hopefully have more career highlights and awareness around the water sector because we only had that water tech one for medicine and it was super popular. And we also had folks like from the National Park Service around conservation. We had folks doing electrification and different careers and sustainability from the USGBC Council. So if you're excited about careers like this or showcasing them to kiddos in high school in the Central Valley, let me know. We will be doing it again next year.
Love it. Love it. And please invite your colleagues to join us because I think a lot of people could learn from some of the efforts that you've put forward, right, in this space. Just doing excellent work and reaching a lot of students. We know I was just at another meeting yesterday. My days blend, but there were three updates, and awareness kept coming up as the one of the top issues. We know that's a problem. We know that we still have work to do, but when we see this kind of work and we see the kind of reach that you have and the impact that you have, it's very inspiring and it helps us think about what we might be able to do in our own backyard. So thank you for continuing to move the needle. I appreciate that. Ashley.
Hi, my name's Ashley Metzger. I'm the Chief Growth Officer with Regional Government Services. I know October's a long way away, but on Thursday, October 1st, RGS is hosting a workshop for public HR and workforce professionals. And as a former water industry person, I'd love to have water well represented because I know that in this industry, there's been a lot of progress and a lot of great solutions. And we'll be talking about workforce challenges and opportunities in the public sector. And that's going to be at the Orange County Conference Center. And we have a save the date going out soon. But if you're interested in attending, shoot me an email. I'll put my email address in the chat and we'd love to get you on our list.
Awesome. Thank you, Ashley. Mark.
Hello, everyone. I am Mark Escabel. I'm the branch manager here at Geotech in Orange County. And just a couple of things. Starting in July, every third Thursday, we normally have a free training on various equipment, whether it's water quality, air quality, or pumps, submersible pumps. So it's a nice area if someone wants to get their feet wet or learn about a specific item. I normally list the agenda on LinkedIn. So if you just tag my LinkedIn, you'll see it come up. It's a very hands-on class. There's normally only 10 people, and you do get wet if you're doing water quality or pump operations. So just kind of plan on that because we do it all here in the office. And then there's also a couple of things. I'm working with GRA to do a demo training during one of their meetings. It'll probably be towards the end of the summer. So you can keep an eye out for that as well if you're part of the GRA or part of that group. Aside from that, if you do have any agencies or any events coming up for the agencies like the one Ashley just mentioned, let me know because I can also show up and do representation, demo, and training classes during that time. For especially now with a lot of students, it's nice that they get an idea what we do and if that's something that they want to do or maybe a different career working from water quality instead of that maybe going into air or the pump quality. So that's just a couple of things coming up. And if you have any questions, just feel free to email me.
Really exciting, Mark. Thank you for that. And yes, please do drop your information, your LinkedIn, if you want folks to tag you on LinkedIn in the chat. Please reach out to Mark because this is a great opportunity for those of us in Orange County who can share with others who may not have attended this meeting. Or, Mark, I'm assuming that you'll go to other regions if LA reaches out and says, "Hey, would you mind being a speaker or sharing some of that information?" Is that something that you'd be interested in?
Yeah, actually, I go every year to Mojave Water District for their program that they have. So as long as I have advance notice, I can normally work that into the schedule.
Sounds good. Thank you for that. Michael.
Good morning, everyone. Michael Collins, CTE engineering instructor at Ruben S. Ayala High School. A couple good announcements. So we were recently approved to become the first Cal Nevada American Water Works Association high school chapter. And as of this morning, IUA has officially endorsed us as a sponsor. So that is really good news. And then we are also in collaboration with Jurupa Water District. They're in the process of they've advertised for 6 summer high school internships in operations, IT, and in engineering. So we're expecting some good results with that, and that's also in partnership with Tomorrow's Talent, who I see is also here today. So really excited about increasing work-based learning opportunities for high school students.
Thank you, Michael. And this is one of the teachers I was talking about that invests in their kids. I have seen Michael present, and his enthusiasm and his love for his work and his students is beyond compare. Um, we've asked that he speak at other events. So, Michael, if somebody would be interested in having you present on how you engage students at at a high school level, would that be something that people could contact you about?
Absolutely. I never say no.
Perfect, perfect. And he is well worth the ask. Truly, the presentation is inspiring. I love to have teachers in the room because they get re-energized by someone who's that passionate about the future of the many students that he has that go on to do really wonderful things in the world. So thank you for all you do and for investing in those kids. And Nick, were you still here?
Yeah, I'm here, Tiffany.
Okay, there
I'm
you
here.
go.
Okay. I look forward to speaking with Michael. I'm a CTE teacher. I'd sure like to learn from you, Michael. Get together with you. So thank you for that very much. So about awareness, Tiffany was kind enough to put some things up here yesterday, or 2 days ago. I'm sorry, on May 19th. City of Garden Grove hosted Know the Trades, Know the Way, and it included a panel of 4 experts in the trades. And I'd been pushing the city for months and months to do something like this, geared on what the city of Buena Park had done last year. And so the council and the city manager finally put it together, and they included me as a speaker at the very end. But the point was is we had a WEEA posters. I brought the 2 posters, which are also can be used as brochures. So Tiffany, my hat's off to you and your team having those materials available on the website so that anybody can download them and get them printed as a poster or a brochure. So we had the posters there. Got to meet some nice people and shared about water because the focus on the trades on that event was construction, but I made the point that all the trades are represented also in the water industry. So increasing awareness, I had at least 2 participants come up to me later and express an interest in in a career in water. And then prior to that, on March 13th, I participated in as was invited to be part of the advisory group for Coastline ROP, and had a chance to also bring the WEEA brochures and posters. And so those 2 things were helpful to bring awareness, and all of us, anyone who knows about different things where they can network and bring the WEEA posters, brochures, it's a good opportunity to increase awareness. And as you probably some of you already know, I'm a CTE teacher for water operations and utilities, and I'm looking forward to hopefully finding a school district here in LA Orange County that's willing to bring on a teacher. Thank you for listening.
Awesome. Thank you, Nick. Let's see. Do we have anything in the chat? Highlight video of the Power the Valley event. Okay, perfect. Yes, yes. Thank you for that. Okay. We have a couple of things if there are no hands. Very excited to have added a calendar to the WEEA web page. We do hope to pull WEEA out of the primary web page and build it out a little more robust. But at this time, if you have an event, if you've got a flyer, if you've got something related to workforce development or the things that we're doing together, I am very happy to post it on our WEEA web page and post it on that calendar. I have separated things by region. So if you're looking at the events or activities for the month of May, you can see very clearly which ones are in IE, which ones are in LA, which ones are in Orange County, and you can attend those or find out more information. So I'll post the flyer, a little blurb about that. I'm very excited to do that and then hopefully grow this because a lot of folks want to share information. And at this point, up to this point, we've only really been able to do that via email or via these meetings. So please let us know if you have something that you want to share that's related to workforce development, and we're happy to post that. Additionally, for the new folks here, I'm not sure how many of you have heard about the documentary Unless Something Goes Terribly Wrong. It's a documentary about wastewater workers, and it was showcased on the East Coast, and then we did several screenings here on the West Coast. We did one San Diego, Orange County, LA, and then in Northern Cal. And what we did was really unique, right? It is wastewater, but it is also an introduction to jobs. So hats off to Alec Mackey if he's in the room. He really coordinated this thing beautifully and brought this really cool opportunity for all of us to take advantage of. We did a screening. I'm just going to speak from the Orange County event. For the LA event and others, you have your own story, but for the Orange County event, we hosted a screening at Santiago Canyon College. Thumbs up again to our community college members. But prior to the screening, this was really a promotion for getting into industry and what a day might look like in wastewater. And Alec prepared an hour-long networking event for students who were already enrolled in the water technology program at Santiago Canyon College, brought in industry professionals to sit down and have one-on-one conversations with students, answer their questions, and have them get more familiar with what their future might look like. And it was a really cool opportunity to highlight those careers, right? And do something that was a little unusual and unrelated. So they got to have a movie night in addition to drawing people to what that looked like. Well, we had a discussion with the producer and with the directors of the film, and they are more than happy to extend that opportunity to your community. We do know that Water UCI was interested in hosting an event. CSU has mentioned that they'd be interested in hosting their own event. So we can bring this film to campuses. One of the things that we'd like to do here in Orange County is to introduce it into our CTE program. So we're in the middle of building two CTE programs and more on the horizon from some conversations we've had recently, and thought that was just a really nice introduction for students to get them excited about what that CTE path might look like for them and promote it in a way that hasn't really been promoted before. So if you're interested in a movie screening, there is a cost to that, but please reach out to me and I'm happy to share the price list and happy to coordinate or collaborate with you on what promotion of that event might look like. So you can email me using the email that you have or shoot me a message on LinkedIn or tap into our website. Happy to do that too. Let's see. All right. That's the good news and announcements, unless anybody has anything else. Last call. Okay. We're gonna move ahead with our sponsor spotlight. So we're doing this a little early, which is completely fine. The way that these meetings work, we're very flexible depending on what the community need is and how quickly we move through things, or if we need more time. So we'll probably just fold some of this time into the breakout sessions. But I'd like to introduce two speakers. Allow, perfect. I'd like to introduce two speakers. Benita Horn, who is the Education Unit Manager at the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California. I've known her almost my entire career. She is a bright light in the education space. She deeply cares about our young people and introducing them to, again, their future and what is possible. She just does great work. She has a great community, and you're going to hear a little bit more about that from her. And then also Brenda Martinez, who is a little newer to the water industry. Brenda, how long have you been at Metropolitan?
Be 4 years in November.
4 years in November, and
Mhm.
she entered this role pretty much starting from scratch. She has a huge background in workforce development, a lot of experience, and has brought a lot of great ideas to the table. And we're so pleased to have her not just part of Metropolitan, but then also part of WEEA and this larger community. She's got a lot to share and can make a lot of connections where you need them. So I'd like to introduce these two ladies. Benita, if you'd like to get started.
Thank you, Tiffany. Good morning, everyone. Is it showing? Oh, yeah, it looks like it is showing. Okay, thank you all for having me today. Tiffany, thank you for that beautiful introduction. Let me start my time so that I can be honest. I told Brenda I would finish in 12 minutes. I gotta make sure I do that. But I am Benita Horn from the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California, the Education Programs Team Manager, and like Tiffany, I am president of the Michael Collins fan club. He is remarkable, and he was a speaker one of our member agency meetings last year, and just very inspiring man, along with his wife, who's a manager at Metropolitan, Heather Collins. Both of them are devoted to water issues and devoted to youth, and they just make a remarkable team. All for allowing me to be here today with the WEEA leadership. Just a few quick facts about Metropolitan and who we are. We're a water wholesaler. We have a 6-county service area that includes parts of Ventura, Los Angeles, Orange County, San Diego, San Bernardino, and Riverside. And the colored spaces that you see on the map, those are our member agencies, our water distribution partners, if you will. And they each have a representative on our board of directors. The larger counties, such as LA, San Diego, or Orange County, have more than one director due to their size. It's about 19 million people. About 5 million of those are students and teachers, and that's where our member agency partners are a resource and asset for us in helping with that outreach. This is a portfolio of our water now. One of the reasons we offer free education outreach is because the majority of our water is important, but with a new initiative, a new water recycling initiative, we hope to reverse this, and in about 20 years, hopefully the majority of our water will be local supplies. And then thanks to all of you, conservation is a big bucket as well. So thanks to all of you in advance. Always start with a acknowledgement of tribal land. Our headquarters are in downtown Los Angeles, which is where the Tongva and Gabrielino tribes are residents, and so we just honor their traditions and connections to the land, water, and community. And then I always like to start with a quote, and I just want to thank and acknowledge Tiffany Baca and Sarah Wilson. I call my team hashtag small but mighty, but they truly are. To think such a small team and such an impact really statewide. And so we're just proud to be part of this team, and they are helping the classroom to become a launch pad into the workforce. So thank you, Tiffany and Sarah, for all that you do. And then thanks to all of you. I don't know if everyone really understands how special WEEA is. I, many decades ago, worked for Metro, just like Brenda Martinez, but I was there way before her. And we had a transportation consortium. But it's so important that teachers get an opportunity to connect with industry professionals. Many times they're preparing students for the workforce, but are kind of running blind because the industry hasn't said, well, hey, this is what we need. This is where things are trending. And so to have this open dialogue, you have a better, higher quality educational experience, and then a higher quality applicant pool as a result. So thanks to all of you for your commitment to this organization. So our department's about 40 years old. Metropolitan will be 100 years old in 2028, I believe. And so we're over 40 years old in education, and everything again is free because again, since the majority of our water is imported, it's part of our I'm forgetting the term, not admin code, but we made it a priority that we wanted to educate the public about the importance of water conservation and stewardship, since the water is traveling 200 to 400 miles every day just to get to your homes, schools, and businesses. So everything we offer is free, including bus transportation to our field trips. And all right, let me keep going. Okay, so our pillars are to ignite curiosity, inspire stewardship, and empower the next generation of environmental leaders. So we are trying to give them a toolkit of information and resources so that they can go out and be our allies, our aqua ambassadors, and spreading that conservation ethic to their siblings, to their classmates, to their neighbors. And just want to acknowledge Brenda Martinez, as Tiffany said, she is new to Metropolitan. Her department is new to Metropolitan, but I feel like over the years, our relationship is just getting stronger and stronger. And so in education, we're trying to create career awareness. We try to introduce students to the different careers that are available at Metropolitan, or really throughout the water industry. And then Brenda takes it a step further and is creating the infrastructure and the pipeline for students to actually come in to the water industry. So I hope that our teamwork just gets better and better every year. So our free curriculum supplements are free of charge. You can order them on our website, and they'll be mailed to you within about 2 weeks. Most are teacher facilitated. Some of them for the younger students can be done asynchronously or independently. And they have their newest one is Peer Drop, that promotes our water reuse and water recycling initiative that I'll talk about a little bit later. These are the supplements for our older students, more middle school, maybe lower grades of high school. Again, a lot of great hands-on science activities and experiments. And again, where we integrate the career awareness discussion is, say, for example, if we have the students build an edible aquifer or a water filter, we let them know you're simulating what a water treatment plant operator might be doing. Or if they have to test pH levels, we let them know that that's what the chemist in a water quality lab might be looking at. Or we show them, for example, that we have scuba divers who are biologists that go down and collect water quality samples and test it to make sure that it's safe for you to drink at your homes, schools, and businesses. So we're always trying to integrate that career awareness discussion. We have 2 standard field trips that we offer every week, and then we will customize it if we can work with our field sites or headquarters to make it happen. We try to do that. But one of our weekly field trips, again, free bus transportation, is our Reservoir Diamond Valley Lake out in Hemet, California, which is in Riverside County, and with everything, we're going to tour the site, conduct some science experiments. They learn about the fossils that were excavated during this process, including Max the mastodon, who is on display at the Western Science Center, a big partner of ours out in Hemet. Water Journeys is our field trip at Pure Water Southern California out in Carson. And so there, the students take a tour of the demonstration plant. And then we go next door to Bixby Marshland, which is owned and operated by Los Angeles County Sanitation Districts. And they've been an education partner with us for more than 20 years. And like as well with Metropolitan, with this water recycling initiative, we are partners with LA County San again. So we appreciate them so much. We usually did a youth summit every 2 to 3 years. We hadn't done one since the pandemic. We had never done one on the topic of water reuse. And so on February 19th, we hosted this event at our headquarters. The students worked with industry mentors for about 2 months. We had professionals from engineering, water resource management, and external affairs that coached the students. They had to answer a challenge prompt in one of 3 categories. That was engineering, water quality, or public perception. Our partners were Water Replenishment District. We work with Monica Sider, and then West Basin Municipal Water District. We work with Fritz Petropoulos, and we put this together in about 6 months. I have a 30-second video that I'd like to share with you that kind of shows the spirit of the day. All right, and that, excuse me, goes to the picture that Tiffany shared earlier. So admittedly, I was very nervous that day. It had been raining cats and dogs all week. This was the middle of February, and it was an unusual rainstorm, and I was concerned the teachers might say, due to student safety, let's cancel the trip. But the students came and showed up, and it was just a very heartwarming and inspiring day. Then we worked with the National Water Reuse Association, and since their national conference was in LA this year, the winning teams were featured at a slot during their conference. So what a thing to be able to put on their college application or their resume that they presented at a conference in front of industry professionals, really from around the world. And so those were the winning teams. Lennox and Oxford Academy, Oxford out of Orange County, and Lennox and Downey were out of Los Angeles County. So again, all ways to continue to network and speak with industry professionals in the water industry. We have a STEM competition. It's only about 5 years old. This is a 6-month program where students have to fabricate a conservation device made only of recycled or upcycled materials. They're mentored by our engineers, our awesome engineers at Metropolitan that coach them and advise them throughout the process. And then we have an awards ceremony. We just had it back in April that concludes it. So it was a wonderful program. And then we have the A in STEM for STEAM. We've had our art program. It's our oldest program, almost 40 years old. And what's nice about this, the students come in December at the artist recognition event. They talk about what inspired their artwork, and then we ask them, what are you thinking about in terms of careers? And some of them are thinking about art, but this young lady at the top on the left, she is actually now at UCLA majoring in mechanical engineering. So you never know when you're exposing students to careers, where their interests are going to lie, and where their skill sets are going to lie. So we're just trying to expose them to the full spectrum, and hopefully something sets off a light bulb inside for them. We have a CPP program that offers grants. I'm getting close to my time, so I'm going to speed through these last few slides. But Joe Chavez Jr., you can contact him for more information. We have programs for Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts. We had something last weekend where they worked on their soil and water conservation patch. We have a college outreach program. We are a major sponsor for Pando Populous, where they have a sustainability competition every year. We also have a career partnership with Cal Poly Pomona and Whittier College, where we provide career panelists. We participate in career day events, just anything where the students have an interest. We try to match them with professionals in those fields. And our teacher institutes, the same thing. We bring in teachers to our headquarters. We're a major sponsor for California Environmental Education Foundation. And again, teachers are coached by professionals in the industry, from water quality, again, to engineering, and then other professions, depending on what the teacher's interests are. The teachers are paid. And this was a partnership we had with Tiffany and Sarah of MODOC and Project WET last fall. So this is a brief video that I won't share because I'm at my time. So thank you for your time today. And I'm going to head it off to Brenda Martinez, the Manager of Workforce Development. Thank you.
Thank you, Benita. And before we pass to Brenda, you didn't have to speed through. We've got some time. Benita has done a lot of these things for a very long time. If you're in Southern California, you can benefit directly from a lot of the things that Met's Ed programs do. If you don't, still reach out to Benita, because they really participate and are involved in a lot of different things. Their team is vastly experienced. She briefly touched on Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts programs. She briefly touched on some of the tours, but I can tell you that on my time that I have known Benita, let me start by saying, right, new division. So we're trying these new things. Metropolitan is always a partner and coming to the table with those things. She mentioned the CPP grant, which is a $3,000 grant. That grant allowed us to purchase Enviroscape models this past year. So we purchased 4 hands-on models that we can use to introduce students to careers from kindergarten to beyond. We've only done kindergarten to 12th grade. We've piloted twice this year. Once, and we're doing another pilot with the high school group in another couple of weeks. But we introduced it to teachers during a teacher training so that they could learn how to introduce careers early and often. We did a high school group, and what we did with the Enviroscape models was pose a scenario, right? So this is happening in this community. Who comes to the table? Actually, we've done it 3 times. We also did it at the Children's Water Festival recently, where we saw 800 elementary school students, and it worked for every single grade, but we wouldn't have been able to get those models without the CPP grant from Metropolitan. So thank you for that. Always come into the table for teacher training or to try something new. The CEF training, love working with them on developing activities, and Metropolitan hosts at their headquarters. Why is this important? Because we may reach let's just say we reach 30 students that year, 150 students. One teacher can reach 150 students every year for a lifetime. So right now you are building advocacy and advocates for not just water in general, but for water careers, and that's huge. I also wanted to give Benita a shout out because she runs an education coordinators meeting. So again, if you're in SoCal and you fall underneath that umbrella, Metropolitan's umbrella, join her group. They also meet a couple of times a year. What is the other last thing I wanted to say? I also just wanted to say that while we talk a lot about introducing careers to young people's lives, right? It doesn't mean that every young person is going to get a job in water. But what it does mean is that, or energy, because energy is also a big component. There's a water energy nexus that we're all involved with. But it also means that young people at a very early age understand what it takes to turn the water on behind the tap. So they may not get a job in water or energy, but they understand now it doesn't just happen by magic. They understand the people that are behind that, the roles that are involved in that. So when they become adults and they become homeowners, they make better decisions, more informed decisions. When they go to vote on a project that we're hoping to advance to support communities, they have just uncovered very early that education that helps them understand truly what this means and what that impacts. So I wanted to make sure that I emphasize that with what Benita is doing, because these are the programs, but there's a much deeper meaning behind starting very early. So please reach out to her if you have your own programs. Also, you don't have to do all the things. Maybe you're a small agency, or maybe you're a college and you're trying to figure out how to engage college age students at that age. Benita is an excellent resource. So I wanted to share that before we move on. But Benita, you have your hand raised.
I do, because you started making me think about it. Thank you for that excellent supplement. That I really enjoyed last year when you and I co-hosted the industry education field trip to San Diego County Water Authority, and visited Cuyamaca College and listened to their Brenda was on that panel of speakers for their Center for Water Education. We went to San Diego, Pure Water San Diego. We went to Linda Vista Innovation Center. So it was just a great day of businesses and educators getting together and learning more about the water industry.
Thank you. And I'll have to say what's really fascinating, this community helped build that tour. So I believe I saw Don Jones on the line. Couldn't have done it without him. Our partnerships that we had grown through the communication side at San Diego County Unified, not Unified, San Diego County Water Authority allowed us to tap in and say, hey, we don't want to stomp around your service area with a kazoo. Do you want to partner? Right. And so because it's their service area and they have the continuum, this is what it looks like at a very young age. And we ended with the job, right? So a whole group of people got to see how you can integrate early, and then what it looks like when you visit Pure Water and they have in phase one 400 jobs for young people. And that helped us all understand how we can better promote and raise awareness of industry jobs from start to finish. So yes, and thank you again for always being a partner and always saying that might be crazy, but we're in. I appreciate it.
Don't get us together, yeah.
All right, thank you. And Brenda, now we'll go ahead and move on to the workforce development side and how this early education then now ties into the work that Brenda's doing within the same organization.
Thank you, Tiffany. So I think it's about to share. Okay, do we see it there? Because I don't.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So again, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. And thank you, Tiffany, for the introduction and invitation. And WEEA for the opportunity to be a part of this roundtable. And of course, thank you to my colleague, Benita, for your support and continued partnership. So I'm going to provide just a brief overview of my journey in workforce development. I am the new kid on the block compared to many in the water sector that I meet. And then I'm going to go over some of Metropolitan's workforce development initiatives that are accomplished through strategic approaches and priorities. So my journey in workforce development began right out of college, working in the nonprofit sector. The nonprofit organization that I work for actually manage a workforce center under the Los Angeles Workforce Investment Board. And many of you may know about the workforce centers, but USOURCE centers or American Job Centers of California, they usually provide job training, career services, skill development, and employment placement to unemployed, long-term unemployed, justice impacted individuals, veterans, youth, and underserved communities. So I managed several grants in this space and worked with various sectors to create job development and training programs to meet their business needs. In this role, I realized that I had a passion for assisting others, not to obtain a job, but a career, but to also do that in combining purpose with problem solving. Working with various communities and seeing the long-term effect and obtaining a living wage job, for many, it wasn't only about the job. It was about gaining new skills. It was about building confidence, supporting their families, and really investing in their communities and also in the place where they work and live. Workforce development addresses challenges through a mission-driven approach and creating solutions that generate meaningful, lasting impact for individuals, organizations, and communities. So my work in the nonprofit sector led me to a job offer with Los Angeles Metro, where I continue my passion through recruitment, workforce development, workforce staffing, and operations. After developing my career with Metro for almost 13 years, I found the opportunity to be a part of a recession-proof, sustainable career that impacts millions, which is the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California. Now, Metropolitan's workforce development initiatives guides our internal and external efforts through a three-pronged approach. The first focuses on the collaboration with internal partners by supporting training, development, and succession planning programs to ensure that they're aligned with career growth that support our existing workforce. The second works closely with Metropolitan Human Resources, the recruitment side of HR, and hiring managers to meet the existing business need, because we know that there's talent in every zip code, but not every zip code knows that we exist. And the third approach focuses on external collaboration, from educational institutions to community organizations to nonprofit organizations to local and state government entities. For the purposes of this presentation, I'm going to focus on the second and third approach. Now, Metropolitan's focus is then further divided into 6 priorities. The priorities that we review that are in alignment with the second and third approach are strategic outreach, industry awareness, and access to job opportunities. Each of these priorities cannot be accomplished without the other, and it's through these approaches that have not only increased collaboration with various external organizations, but has allowed Metropolitan to reach depth of engagement over volume of outreach. By doing this, we are prioritizing meaningful, high-impact relationships with the goal of building long-term partnerships that become our advocates, like Tiffany mentioned, to leverage outreach, increase awareness, and create programs that will provide the education and skills needed for future qualified talent pipelines. It's important to note that these collaborations must be reciprocal, where the partnership supports shared goals, long-term workforce success, and community impact. Workforce development's outreach efforts cannot be accomplished alone. It takes the support of many. Metropolitan works with various internal departments to strategically leverage our outreach efforts. For example, in working with Human Resources Department, we understood that instrumentation and control technician positions were really hard to fill. We then met with hiring managers to ensure we understood the requirements, which for instrumentation and control requires a high school or GED equivalency and 15 units of electronics, and that's for instrumentation and control Tech 1 for Metropolitan. We then asked ourselves, what do these courses look like? And do potential applicants really understand what the courses are? We then work with management on an outreach plan to research colleges that provide electronic courses to inform the colleges about these opportunities and obtain support to conduct information sessions and meet students where they are in the classrooms. We met with our internal partners who work with our other organizations, such as Legislative Services, to inform about information sessions that were scheduled. We then worked with veteran organizations because in researching various military branches, we understood that the Air Force has similar skills that are transferable to this position. And we leverage our outreach again to those transitioning out of the military. All these efforts were made before the positions were posted to allow potential applicants to become better informed about Metropolitan, the position, the application, recruitment, and hiring process. About a month and a half ago, Metropolitan posted 10 positions, I believe it was last month or so, for this exact classification. And according to HR recruitment section, these efforts yielded one of the highest numbers of qualified applicants that we've seen. Now, Metropolitan also utilizes data to determine outreach gaps. For example, we have 5 pumping plants located in the Mojave Desert regions of Southern California. And working with management, we also understood that in that region, they were also having difficulty to fill several hard-to-fill positions. We analyzed the region, which showed us communities that are far apart and somewhat isolated. We then analyzed our workforce commute and noticed that most of our employees were commuting from 1 to 2 communities, but there were many other cities and surrounding communities that probably didn't know we existed. We started conducting outreach in those surrounding communities by collaborating with community colleges, libraries, and community organizations that would provide the space to conduct information sessions to increase awareness. Through this process, we have introduced Metropolitan and the water sector to a higher number of communities in that region. And through these collaborations, we have connected Native nations to other educational institutions for additional program options and connected communities to organizations where they can obtain support with skill development and job training opportunities. External collaboration is one of the key components to align training with industry needs, close skills gaps, and leverage shared resources. This collaboration is done in partnership with our education department to support K through 16, working with member agencies through events and programs to support one another and avoid duplicating efforts, to partnering with community organizations and educational institutions. For example, in working with the Los Angeles Unified School District, we connected with Carson High School. We learned that they have an environmental science and engineering and technology academy known as ESET. And we discussed the opportunity of creating an after-school program for water and wastewater. They supported the idea and had a teacher that was willing to teach the course after school. The school recruited students from the ESET Academy, and 26 students signed up, but we have 12 students that committed to attend the 8-week after-school program. In collaboration with our education department, who recommended Eastern Municipal Water District CTA Pathway curriculum, the high school loved it and decided to use those modules to teach the after-school program for wastewater and water. The students will have their last class next week and will prepare to interview with partners of the program for a summer internship opportunity. This program wouldn't be possible without the partnership and support of West Basin Municipal Water District, the Los Angeles County Sanitation Districts, the South Bay Workforce Investment Board, the City of Carson, our internal partners, education, and external affairs. All these partners have taken a role to meet with students, provide transportation to attend a facility tour, and are providing the opportunity for a summer internship. This is a pilot program, and if successful, we hope to provide the framework where this program can be duplicated with other agencies. Now, I would like to take a minute to introduce this workforce development app that we launched last year in May. You can feel free to scan the QR code that we have here on the slide. When you scan the QR code, you're going to get a word workforce pop up, and then you'll send it as a text, and then you'll get a link, or you can simply just go into seeyourselfinwater.com. This tool provides the
All right, guys, have a great
opportunity.
summer. Be safe.
This tool provides the opportunity to learn about the water sector, job opportunities from member agencies, partners, and Metropolitan, and learn about certifications that can make potential applicants more competitive, such as treatment and distribution certifications. And also, we list the community colleges that support water technology programs. And then we also list associations that provide a platform to network. There are so many water associations that students, young adults, those transitioning careers can learn from and really take advantage of how they can network. And they also have training programs, and some even offer scholarships. This is a way to not only outreach, but to also stay connected. Now, Metropolitan doesn't only provide information about career opportunities, we also take a deeper dive and talk about the water sector as a whole, and the different opportunities from internships to careers that exist in the water sector with various agencies, because we all have different levels of requirements. And in the end, supporting someone to obtain a career in the water sector benefits all communities. We meet students in classrooms that are aligned to careers in the sector, especially for the hard to fill positions, and discuss the pathway. We also provide an employer's perspective and conduct resume interview workshops, review job postings, and explain the importance and how to relate their experience on their resume and go over transferable skills. We connect with communities to support programs that are aligned with careers in the sector. For example, we work with organizations like Unite LA and Tomorrow's Talent that have IT and cybersecurity programs. And we bring employees in those careers to join virtual events to talk about their journey to water or support mock interview events. We're also collaborating with Palo Verde Community College to develop courses that will provide education and skills for electrical and mechanical technician related careers that will help increase the talent pipeline in this region. One of the areas that has been a challenge in the water sector is creating clear pathways for every classification. Many of you may know that the water sector has diverse careers, and there's over 200 classifications, and many water agencies may title the classification a little bit different than others, and the minimum qualifications may differ. So this is a challenge. But we are having conversations with our member agencies about this. And one example where we have collaborated is through the development of a veteran resource guide. Through outreach efforts, we realized that many transitioning out of the military and veterans applying for careers in water were having difficulty translating their skills and service to civilian language and applications and resumes. So this impacts both the applicant and the agency because resumes that aren't matching the career they're applying may result in potentially screening out a great candidate. For this reason, Metropolitan started a veteran subcommittee with member agencies, various veteran community organizations, and veteran employees from Metropolitan's MVET Employee Resource Group to better connect those in service to careers in water. Through these collaborations that also include Metropolitan internal partners such as External Affairs, HR, our legal department, we are creating a veteran resource guide from one honorable service to another. This guide will provide information about the water sector, translate careers in water, and connect them to military occupational skills, inform veterans about colleges that offer credit for prior learning, provide success stories from employees in the water sector that are veterans, and tell their journey to water. And it will include tips from the application process to the interview and much more. So this is an example of some of the categories that we're highlighting in the Veteran Resource Guide. We hope to do a soft launch in our next summit, which I'll give you more information about that towards the end. But there's going to be several categories that are going to be included. That's going to talk about the different careers, but they can really see the connection with the military occupational skills and these careers that exist in the sector. We want to make sure that this guide is not only used for those that are seeking opportunities in the sector, but also for recruitment staff that are screening resumes. They can also utilize this guide to now really look at the resumes and interpret and understand some of the language that may be seen from military occupational skills, and now they can connect it to the positions that they're screening for. We also want to make sure that veteran organizations that are helping veterans for job placement can also have a better understanding in the water sector and assist them in connecting them to the careers that exist. One last collaborative effort that I would like to highlight is a regional branding campaign that wouldn't be possible without the support from member agencies and our internal partner, External Affairs. I'm excited to introduce the Workforce Development Regional Branding Campaign, See Yourself in Water. Now, this slogan was designed to provide the effect of reflection in water and will be used in marketing collateral that will include banners that provide life-size, compelling images of real staff from local water agencies, including our own metropolitan employees. The banners as shown in these examples were developed with a simple, stylized, and elegant presentation to focus on the people in the water sector and highlighting in the background their role, profession, and landscapes that depict facilities and the environment in which they all work. These banners will show employees in different professions, from operations, administration, to the trades. See Yourself in Water materials will also include postcards that will have images consistent with the banners, but in the back, you're going to see a lot of information about why they should consider choosing water as a career. Member agencies will be able to utilize this regional branding campaign and personalize the materials to suit their specific needs with a brand look and feel. Workforce development is a long-term investment that leverages collaboration among employers, educational institutions, workforce agencies, and community organizations to build sustainable workforce systems and develop a future talent. And this would be difficult to accomplish if we didn't establish a strategic focus and priorities that will strengthen talent pipelines, improve industry alignment, strengthen partnerships and collaboration, and maximize resources and impact. So thank you again for joining us today and for allowing me to share about Metropolitan's priorities and initiatives. And I want to just announce that we are having a Workforce Development Summit on June 24th. This is an opportunity where a lot of our community partners, educators, community organizations, those that are in the space of doing workforce development work, recruitment, education, to really come together and have discussions about how can we continue to support one another, engage in conversations about what are the disconnects that we have when it comes to the water agency, and what can we do better to make sure that we are providing these opportunities in the water sector. We'll go ahead and put the information in the chat. And again, thank you for your time.
Let's see. Thank you. Thank you, Brenda. And what a great overview of what you've been able to accomplish in the last 4 years. This is a lot. And it's really wonderful because, if you look at WEEA's 4 pillars, diversity, awareness, partnership, and skills, you really touch on every one of those. And partnerships are significant in our line of work, right? No agency, and we hear this a lot, no agency, no educational institution should be doing this work alone. First of all, it's there's only a handful of us doing that, and the capacity isn't there for one person to do it. But also, when you bring in other people, they own it. They also own their part, and they can bring their area of expertise to the table. I know that through your veteran resource guide, that you've empowered a lot of your member agencies to participate in that and take ownership of that, and feel really great about being able to support veterans entering the workforce. So thank you for all that you do. You're doing excellent work, and we're all benefiting from that. We are going to move now to Q&A. Yep, to Q&A. So if we have any questions from the audience, please raise your hand. Happy to take those questions now. For either Benita or for Brenda about Metropolitan. And if not, I've got questions. Nick.
Yes, excellent. Excellent presentation by both Benita and Brenda. Just wonderful to see all this. I hope that the slides can be made available from both of them. And I would, there's a meeting, Brenda mentioned a meeting coming up in June. I didn't quite write down the date quick enough. So if that can go into the chat, when is the meeting, and can teachers and water people like myself attend? So that's a question there.
Yeah, so it's on June 24th. It's at the California Endowment in Los Angeles, but I'll put the information in the chat and the link to register. And definitely we want to invite educators, other water agencies, community organizations to be in the conversation at the summit.
Thank you very much.
Of course.
Thanks, Nick. Michael.
Yes, great presentations. Benita, so the Educators Youth Summit where you had the students come in, how does one get put on that short list?
You are already at the top of the list. In fact, you've already won. So, yes, Michael, I will make sure that Omar Urquieta, who's over the Youth Summit, make sure that he has your contact information so that your students are represented next year.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Regina.
Hey, everybody. So I think my questions are probably a little more for Brenda. You talked about work with cover letters, resumes, the interview process, all of that. We have found, oh, by the way, Regina Blasberg, College of the Canyon. So I'm coming at it from a faculty perspective. We have found that one of the challenges our students face is exactly that, how to get hired and what processes are and how to, and we're incorporating some of that into one of our courses. So what I'm wondering is, do you guys have any resources, short videos or anything like that that we could access to include in our actual instructional coursework so that students have access to that? And then on the veteran resource guide, is that, again, we have a veterans office on our campus. Most of the colleges do. it would be great to be able to share any resources you have directly with our veterans group. And then as workforce development, we also have folks on our campus, specifically an individual who's responsible for industry partnerships. Could I put her in contact with you? Would there be opportunities there for that? Sorry, a lot of questions.
Thank you, Regina. Nice meeting you. Yes, put me in contact with the workforce development. Definitely, I'll put in my email again in the chat. When it comes to the resume interview workshop, we actually started doing that based on our outreach efforts. A lot of communities were asking the same thing, that their students and community members needed more of that. So we started going into classrooms and doing the interview and workforce interview and resume workshops, and also with community organizations that would come and participate. We are talking about doing videos. So that is something that we're working on and doing. So once we do videos, because it is difficult for us to be everywhere, but we thought it would be great to do videos so we can share that. So we'll definitely share those videos once we put those together. In the meantime, I can give you some of the material that we do provide when it comes to application tips and our process. So I can definitely send that over to you. The Veteran Resource Guide, we're tying it up and we're going to launch it at the summit on June 24th. The goal is to have all water agencies have access to it and place it on their career site. It's going to be initially at our career site, and then we hope that everyone can have access to it with other water agencies and partners. So we can definitely share that once it's launched.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions from our audience group? And then we'll pose a few that I got directly from email. So this is actually for both of you because you work collaboratively, but you also work in your very own space, right? What is the biggest, or what are the biggest misconceptions students still have about careers in the water industry? So Benita, K-12, what are the biggest misconceptions that students have?
Thank you, Tiffany. I just think that largely our industry tends to be invisible. Our pipes are, under the ground. So I think students just are like, what are we, like sparklets? Are we delivering water? They just don't understand, the wide variety, and that there really can be a place for them just about anywhere, depending on their skills or interests, and that it can be in a vocational path, a professional path, whatever their interests are, that we could find a home for them. And as Brenda said, that is practically recession proof.
Perfect. Thank you. And Metropolitan does have an energy component. Are you also introducing energy jobs, or how energy and water transfer? Just curious about that.
Is that for me, Tiffany?
That's for you too. And then I'm going to go back to Brenda for the first question. Yeah.
Not as much as we should, but we do always have our WEEA career brochures at all of our events, even more so than many times our own HR brochures. So we are definitely trying to get that message out as well.
Great. Thank you for that. And for the group, if you heard Nicholas earlier say that he attended an event and took the WEEA brochures, Benita, and we actually have a lot of our partners who take the career brochures. They're completely free. Go to the WEEA website, download them, put your own logo on them. We ask that you leave ours on it, but you can make them very personal. We have them translated in 9 different languages. I sometimes I forget about this resource because this was something we did, many years ago, but it's still holding strong. You don't have to recreate the wheel. If you're looking for a resource to share with students, again, from very early on through adulthood, please download those, put your logo on them. You can send them to a printer. You can print them from your own printer. So thank you for that shout out. So Brenda, biggest misconception students still have about water industry careers at the post-secondary level.
And I just want to say, I love your brochures. Love, love, love. I'm always use them everywhere I go. They're just like so easy, the brochures, and I love them. The biggest misconception that I see is that a lot of them students think that we just have STEM, and there's a lot more careers than just STEM. So we always try to highlight the diversity of the different careers that exist, from administration to operations to the skilled trades. And then another thing is that they really don't know where these opportunities exist. I think We do have to do a better job of where they can actually go to access them. There isn't a one-stop shop. With the Workforce Development app, we are providing that in a way where they can access all member agency opportunities directly to their career site. But besides that, a lot of them, there was a student that I met at the CSU Water Conference in San Diego, and she was from Northern California, and she says, well, I was thinking of changing my major because I don't know if there's any water agencies in Northern California. And I'm like, what? Yes, there are. There's a lot of water agencies in Northern California. So I think that's a misconception. They just don't know where these agencies are. So those are the two biggest misconceptions that I've seen.
Perfect. Thank you. Nick.
Yes, a question for Benita. It's really great that your MWD is doing free tours. I mean, excuse me, transportation. That's a key component, providing the free transportation for the schools. And for a long time, that was not available. So my hat's off to you. I don't know how long it's been going on, but thank you very much. Can more be done to let the school districts know about that? Because I think maybe school districts may not be aware of that fully. So that's just a suggestion and an idea if you can consider for the future. Thank you.
Thank you. That's excellent. And that's one of our summer projects is to do a lot better job since the pandemic. I feel like really the last 2 years, we've really finally come back to operating at 100%. And now we want to kind of get our marketing going and letting more schools know about these opportunities. We have leftover bus money every year, and that shouldn't be happening. And so that means we need to get the word out a lot better. So thank you, Nick. That's our summer homework assignment, is to do better about getting this information out to schools.
Well, thank you, Benita. And if you or your staff need help, I'm available part-time or full-time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect. Let's skip on to, and this is again for both of you because you work together but operate in different lanes, right? What makes a school district or a community college partnership successful? We do have about half of our membership with WEEA, or half of our participants are from education. And we're really quite proud of that because when we first started this, water industry loves to talk to each other, energy industry loves to talk to themselves, so does education. We have now created this collaborative community. So addressing the school or the education side of it, what makes a successful partnership from your perspective?
I can.
Am I first?
Sure.
Okay, go ahead, Brenda. You go first.
I think in the workforce development side is really truly just trying to support the school districts where we can support them in the programs that they're doing, and have that shared goal of that we're really trying to invest in our youth, and really trying to develop the youth into careers. So whenever the school district has an opportunity for us to either step in and come into their classrooms, then I'm always willing to do that. Benita and I have partnered with a lot of events too, like Steam Fest that's going to happen with the Compton Unified School District next week. So I think it always has to be an even exchange and shared goal that we have. And then at the same time, the school districts also see the investment that we're doing with them and how we really want to invest in our youth. And because that is something that obviously school districts and educators are some priority for them. I see that the relationship just works and just continuing the communication with them. I was told for the longest time it's hard to speak with school district. LUSD is like a huge school districts, but I kept knocking on the door and I kept trying to connect with one or the other. And I was fortunate enough to be able to connect with someone, for example, that connected me with Carson High School. And then I met Nancy Lay, who I saw on the call, that did a tour at Laverne. And now we're connecting and we're talking with education about a CTE pathway curriculum. So just continuing those conversations and understanding that we have a shared goal is really valuable.
Wonderful. Thank you.
I'm just gonna totally piggyback off of Brenda's answer. She gave a perfect answer. As a former educator, I know how busy teachers are. So really, I put the onus on us to try to make it as easy as possible to partner with them. So I'm actually even offering now, like I know at the beginning of the year, teachers or principals have meetings or professional developments. We'd love to host it as a way to kind of love on you that day, also market our programs. But so we just want to try to make it as easy as possible to get the information and not try to complement what they're doing in the classroom and not be this thing that they've got to try to force in because they just simply don't have the time. So yeah, we just want to be a great resource for them.
Perfect. Michael.
Yeah, I just wanted to give a quick kind of perspective as a secondary educator that is really all about work-based learning opportunities. I remember being a product of an ROP program back in 1988 with Coastline Community College ROP and taking a zero first period class, and as a result, getting an internship as a junior in high school, making over $13 back then, which is like the equivalent of almost $40 an hour today.
Wow.
Which was transformative and life-changing and pushed me in the direction that that I ultimately went. But again, being in education, you come across so many obstacles, and I'm not one to ever take no. And so industry insight has allowed me to find loopholes and partnerships that somehow, rather than try to get school districts, because trying to get internships during the school year is next to impossible. There are some school districts that do it. It's very, very paper driven in terms of the paperwork, in terms of the liability. However, the 100% of the employees fingerprinted and all this, which is just
Right,
completely
right.
unreasonable in the real world that we live in. But as soon as you switch it to a summer program, all that disappears. The bureaucracy disappears because the students are no longer under the purview of the school district, and it allows for different industry partners and utilities to really open up their doors, partner with entities like Tomorrow's Talent, which again, I put in the chat. I had a meeting with Rupa Water and mentioned everything, and literally within 6 weeks or 4 weeks, we had 6 internships online. There's no way you can do that within the confines of an education in a school district. That would take 6 months to a year, all the board approval process. Meanwhile, kids volunteer at the hospitals, and there's no one asks about that. They're working with convicted felons in the hospital and bandaging them, and we got kids working in In-N-Out and all these different other places that don't have to
Right,
conform to all those rules and regulations. And there's just such a disconnect. And I'm not trying to vent in a negative way. I just want educators and partners to realize there are opportunities and ways to kind of go around that still allow us to be able to access the outreach and provide inspiring inspiration for these students to find a pathway, and trying to work with partners that have kind of navigated through this.
Great. Thank you for that, Michael. And yeah, big shout out to Tomorrow's Talent. They are one of
Tomorrow's
our WEEA
Talent is
sponsors.
awesome.
But
Yeah.
you can hear over and over again. We have Eastern, who's on the call, giving love to Tomorrow's Talent. Metropolitan, which is how we found out about them. They are an excellent partner. One of the things that we did this year, which was again different for us, but was so successful because of the vision of Tomorrow's Talent, was host a regional workforce summit in Inland Empire to help bring those community members together to figure out where they can partner and where the gaps were. And it was highly successful. I've been talking to Marianne and Tomorrow's Talent about doing that in other regions. So if that would benefit you, please let me know. Most of the folks on this call are from different places, but always happy to jump in and see where we can move the needle and push the envelope and move this mountain just a little bit further. So please let me know if that's something you're interested in. We have some amazing partners. Another thing that Tomorrow's Talent has been able to do for us is prep students for some of the opportunities that we open the doors for, right? So we have an upcoming Orange County Water Summit. I'll get the date for our folks here, but we do invite students to attend this networking event. Really, it's a full day summit that has about 300 employers in the room learning about emerging trends and what challenges are available. And Tomorrow's Talent has jumped in and helped us prep students with resume review and how to present yourself, what to wear when you walk in the door at this unique opportunity. So they do a lot of wonderful things. If you haven't connected with them, they're on the call. Please do. It's well worth the investment. That intermediary really does help break some of the barriers and cut through some of the red tape that we all face from both directions. So shout out to them. Any other questions before I move on? I got a couple more that I wanted to get to, and this is again for both Benita and Brenda. What strategies have helped increase participation from underrepresented communities? New administration, we've kind of allowed diversity, equity, and inclusion to fade into the background as we're trying to figure that out, but it's still a critical issue, and it's really important. It still remains one of WEEA's founding pillars, and so curious how you increase participation and get other students from underrepresented communities who may not know that these opportunities are available access.
For workforce development in Metropolitan, we partner with a lot of the local workforce centers, America Job Centers of California, employment development departments. They actually have funding where their priority is to outreach underserved communities. They also have youth programs. So we connect a lot with those organizations and either attend the career fairs, assist with any mock interviews that they have. We try to partner with them as much as we can to support the communities that they serve. So it's another way for us to leverage our outreach through these organizations and also tap into those communities. Metropolitan, we conduct broad outreach for everyone, but we also know that these communities may not have the access or know about these opportunities. So that's what we try to attach ourselves to those type of organizations that are already serving those communities and see how we can support them.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
How about you, Benita?
Yes, thank you. No, I agree with Brenda that it's been a concern of mine for the 25 years that I've been in the industry. The demographics were pretty clear about 25 years ago. You knew if you wanted this demographic, then you went to these schools, and everything has shifted culturally, geographically, but then the pandemic just really gobbledygooked up everything. And so now some of those demographics, the percentages are even lower. So I'm actually creating like a little advisory team. And one of my summer projects, homework assignments, is how do we reach some of those underserved spaces, including special needs students. That's been a group for us that we really need to do better work in. So, and then, like Brenda said, the people that I'm working with on this advisory council are people who are already in community outreach groups in those particular regions where we are not seeing the students represented in the programs like we'd like to. We have, in those 6 counties, we have a beautiful diversity, and I want to make sure that all the schools see their faces in our programs. So it's a work in progress that I've really had to try to move up higher on my to-do list.
Great, and thank you, Benita. If that advisory is already in place or if you're building it, please consider me for that advisory. This is something that I don't want to fade into the background. There are a lot of ways that we look at diversity, and we have a lot of different jobs. And one of the things that we've recognized as we are integrating that career exploration component early, right? And we have through that great tour that we did with Linda Vista and our friends at Linda Vista Innovation Center who introduced us to the RIASEC assessment. That's part of the activities that we do. We're recognizing that one classroom can have 6 different groups of students who are interested in completely different things. And I did want to share that what's fascinating is we have been doing a lot of work with continuation high schools. We have even done some special needs groups, again, because this is all connecting to our communities, and everybody should have the opportunity to participate because because that's what we truly all want. But we've recognized that STEM has been such a huge focus in education for so long. Some of the folks that are getting left behind, and it's very clear when we're
That's
doing the
excellent.
continuation high
Yeah.
schools, are those students who work with their hands, who prefer to work with their
Yes.
hands, and those students who are artistically inclined, right? So STEAM helps some of those artistically inclined folks, but as someone who has taken the assessment and is very strong in the artistic component, I'm able to say, do you see that? This logo, I designed that. Go to our website, I designed that. Or the brochures, I designed that, right? So students can see themselves across the way. And we're looking at students who have been left behind. And that's not necessary because we can, those of us who fall into those categories can create a big impact if we're allowed access. So thank you for all that you do for that. And I'd love to be part of that conversation.
Thank you. And the brochure, you designed those, Tiffany?
Yes,
The
ma'am.
Wow.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Oh gosh.
They're simple, but they get the
Mm,
message across. Yeah,
Thank
they're
you.
beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you. I have had a lot of time in communications, and I'm passionate about it. I feel privileged to be able to connect people in a way that communicators can, and to use senses, right, and different learning styles, and to tap into each of those. Because again, access is also one of my big priorities. I want to make sure that everyone has access to participate because that's really what we all want to do. So thank you for that. All right. Any other questions? We're going to wrap up Q&A if we have nothing else. I have other questions, but we're going to save that.
Tiff,
Yes.
Tiffany, I'm sorry. I just a quick question. A lot of us want to connect with each other, if possible, if people are okay. It'd be nice to share a list of all the participants if that's possible. That's all.
Thank you, Nick. Appreciate that. Okay. Let us see. Let us see. We'll go back to, here we go. All right. Next up, and one of the things that I love about this community as it continues to grow, and again, limit, access, right? Perspectives. Each of us come to the table with something different to share. One of the things that is really interesting about WEEA is we invite you from wherever your sector is, whether it's education or workforce advocacy, intermediary, utilities, consulting firms, and then we have within those sectors sub groups of people from HR to communications to board directors, council members, and students. So we're really excited. If you hadn't heard about this project, we connected with Water UCI, which is the student-led research team at UCI, University of California, Irvine, and they were looking to get more involved. And obviously, we have a nice, healthy network, and looking to see where they might be able to focus their research over the next 2 years. And I thought, how cool would it be to be able to gather more data? Because we're all talking about metrics and how can we measure and where have we been and where are we going? How cool would it be to use the research arm and the student-led group to help advance both of our initiatives and reach both of our goals? So we did that. We partnered with Water UCI, a great, wonderful group of students, and we have just dropped their statewide research report. And we did that through a variety of different things, but I'm going to call Spencer to the table to be able to present a little bit on this. He is one of the research team students who was very active and sitting at the head of how this project unfolded. And since we're going to be talking about some of the recommendations in the breakout rooms, we thought we'd bring Spencer up to kind of share out what they learned and what their recommendations are going forward. So Spencer, take it away.
All right. Thank you. Let me change one setting real fast. Okay, great. Great. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you, Tiffany. This is such a great opportunity to share some of our findings for everybody. So like Tiffany mentioned, my name is Spencer Jaquay. So I'm a grad student at UC Irvine. I work as a research fellow for Water UCI. I also support the undergraduate research opportunities program at CSU Long Beach as a part-time lecturer. And also I want to say, Tiffany, jump in if there's any part of the report that stands out to you that I don't mention that you you really like, please. So this report, it's called the California Water Workforce Development Insights from 2 statewide workshops. And this project was developed to learn from the professionals doing work across the state. And so we're trying to explore what works and then maybe where there are more opportunities to provide more insights. And then after we conducted our sessions, we spoke with Tiffany and we decided to release this preliminary report because we noticed there isn't really any recent data out on the workforce challenges in a California specific report. So we thought it was a very timely thing to get this out. We're also going to be working on a larger, more robust report over the summer. And all in all, developing this project with WEEA and our team was such a wonderful experience, especially coming from the student perspective. In college, you don't really get too many opportunities to present things that you feel really make a difference. And I can speak for my team, I guess, in saying that, we all felt like this one was important. It was a little different. It felt very real. So it was just such a fun opportunity. Okay, so starting off, so this project was student-led. It gave us a direct role in this research process. So we started by developing questions. We analyzed the data. During the session, our teams facilitated breakout sessions and documented the different talking points. Then between the sessions, we organized the data, interpreted conversations, and then we had to quickly develop our next iteration of questions. And the research questions really grew out of the questions and concerns raised by all of you all, agencies, educators, community organizations across the state. During the first session, so I don't know if I believe this was the last 2 leadership roundtables. I'm not positive. Yeah. Okay. So
Yes.
during the first session, we focused more so on having just discussions and regional breakout groups, and then kind of capturing the different perspectives. And then the second session was focused more on polling and refining themes and identifying practical next steps. And I think one of the most enjoyable parts of this whole project was having our team being able to collaborate with the WEEA sponsors and partners. So kind of behind the scenes, as we developed our first round of questions, we had the opportunity to share those with the WEEA sponsors. And we all kind of got to get into the weeds, I guess, with getting feedback, taking a deeper dive together on, what's important, how agencies perceive things differently, and then kind of co-designing what we all felt would be most impactful to ask the larger audience. We also had sponsors. We have sponsors within each breakout session, which was really fun and sort of de-stress the situations for a lot of the students who, were trying to lead discussions in front of many industry professionals, which could be very intimidating. And so, it was just nice. It was a great experience. All right. Next slide, please. Okay. And so this next, we identified 6 challenges and concerns. These were themes that emerged. And, we recognize that each agency's challenges differ. But these were just some of the themes that emerged from the different conversations. So the first one was limited awareness. This is something that we have heard for quite some time and is still relevant. So we found that there was reported difficulties, getting students and other stakeholders to understand the range of jobs in water and the skills required for them, in addition to the pathways about getting this information can be quite confusing for some. And then one interesting component of this was that awareness issues were compounded by capacity issues. So these are things like limited staff capacity, funding instability for long-term funding, administrative and logistical barriers. And so all of these different buckets of capacity made it harder to create awareness for agencies as well as community partners. For point two, hiring bottlenecks, we found this to be very interesting in that it somewhat conflicts with the last point. And so our team really had to kind of wrestle with how to frame this one because while awareness is limited, for some agencies, we notice awareness could be quite high for certain roles. Since agencies reported high volumes of applicants submitted for certain positions, especially entry-level positions. But our polls suggested that gaining the required experience is extremely competitive, and as such, it can kind of create a bottleneck in the system for bringing in new professionals into the industry. For point three, in the first session, so knowledge transfer constraints. So in the first session, there was a lot of discussion regarding retirements, high workloads, and the limited ability to mentor. And so some participants suggested that they relied more heavily on recruiting experienced workers, which increase regional competition. So, trying to find workers who are already established at other agencies, pulling them, which kind of creates this system of movement. And it also perpetuates the hiring bottleneck issue for entry level workers. Because if everybody's just trying to pull seasoned workers, then we're not gaining new experiences for early career professionals. And then for point four, cross-sector coordination issues. A few breakout discussions raised that there may be a disconnect in workforce efforts between agencies and with community partners, especially educators, and that there's limited shared infrastructure. But participants supported shared talent pipelines. They very much supported internships, shared internships. I believe we had 50% consensus that was the most important component that we should be working towards, and experience matching systems. We did an open-ended question asking participants to write in what's one thing that they'd like to see in their region. And the main responses were paid internship pipelines, community college alignment, career pathway support, and stronger regional coordination. And then for number five, post-COVID challenges. One positive to this was going remote. We're able to reach further communities. So, by way of doing presentations online. However, there's lots of concerns about less hands-on learning and connection building. And also, there were concerns around new hires and on the onboarding process being especially impacted by remote work, and the ability to kind of build that cohesion that you really need to develop a team. And then lastly, DEI workforce efforts. So this was another interesting observation, as there was quite a few participants that were uncertain about how DEI should be defined, implemented, and measured at their agency or organization. Let's see. So, for example, we asked if you had to choose one DEI measure to report, which do you feel would be most impactful? And 33%, which was the largest category, picked not sure. So this raises a question as to whether DEI efforts are misunderstood, or if the efforts are being siloed, and kind of separated from other workforce development efforts to some regard. However, there was one caveat, and this was brought up during the polling session. How we were collecting data, there wasn't really a way of just opting out of the question. And so some participants may have put not sure because maybe they're not a part of an organization or something like that. And so there was a forced response. And so that could have kind of inflated that. And so because of that, we were a little hesitant to interpret too far into that result. However, I think it's still an interesting one that in the future we should be exploring. Next slide, please. Okay. And so these are the 8 recommendations that the team came up with. And these recommendations came directly from kind of the topics and concerns that we heard throughout. And then a few of the recommendations came from one-off comments that we felt were really impactful or had the potential to be really impactful, and we wanted to promote them and kind of prop them up. And we recognize that these recommendations are easier said than done. There's a lot of complications with implementing these. And that's what this breakout session that we'll be doing afterwards is all about. I also had just read a report about 2008 or 2010 that highlighted some of these same recommendations. Some of these recommendations are not new, but they're still an issue. So really building some of these programs take work and take collaboration. But I think WEEA provides this wonderful platform for starting that. Yeah. Okay, so the first recommendation is to clarify early career expectations. So agencies and their partners should better align on minimum qualifications, role expectations, and what entry-level readiness looks like. And we know that this is complicated because different agencies have different requirements. And so this, I think, might take some more sampling of agency requirements to understand, where the disconnect might be and then how it can be resolved. But before figuring out how to scale this solution, but it'll just take some conversations and partnership. Number 2, expand paid work-based entry point. So agencies should expand paid internships and other opportunities to help beginners gain relevant experience before applying for full-time roles. And we noted that partnering organizations can support this through, first off, leading or developing a new program, right? Trying to initiate these partnerships. But then also through grant writing to further develop and support them. But then also conducting research or sharing research that identifies industry challenges and needs. One sec. Sorry. Okay. And then number 3. So this one is near and dear to me. I'm actually writing my entire dissertation on how to build internal workforce development capacity. And so developing this internal workforce capacity, I think, is really important. A few mentioned it in the last session, and I completely agree. And so does our team. And there's really not many recommendations or guidelines that are supporting kind of how to do this. And so, what I mean by internal capacity is internal staffing, time, coordination, um, um, admin, admin support. Yeah, and so I'd say a first step right now, if you'd like to build capacity, and you don't know where to start, would just be to talk to Tiffany, and maybe she can link you up with a sponsor or another partner who has already started the process of developing. I will hopefully be publishing a report in the summer, or a little bit after, kind of going into more detail on how you can build internal capacity and what kind of motivates and drives these aspects of it. Yeah, feel free to reach out to me also if you have any questions or thoughts. Number 4, okay, involving HR and operations early. So this came from a single comment during the second session that seemed especially helpful. HR and operation leads should be involved early in pathway building, and that's so. Workforce strategies reflect the hiring realities and day-to-day staffing needs. HR can also help the agencies track whether their efforts lead to stronger applicant pools, smoother hiring, and better long-term retention efforts. And number 5, support retention after hire. And so this again came from you all from a comment. Agencies should support early career employers after they hire through onboarding, mentoring, accessible knowledge building skills. Partnerships with community colleges can help employees continue developing their skills, but also mentoring helps transfer practical knowledge from experienced staff to newer workers, and it can kind of ease their transition into the agency and hopefully help create a better experience for them. You create a happier work environment, and hopefully it keeps employees retained. Number 6, strengthen regional coordination. So agencies and partnering organizations should examine existing regional workforce models, such as shared internships or joint workforce committees, assess strengths and limitations, and consider what kind of coordination structures could be most useful in their region. And we know there's so much overlap in the work that agencies are doing regionally. It could be beneficial to strengthen these ties, support one another's efforts, kind of share what works, what doesn't work. Yeah. And number 7 is create structured research opportunities, such as the one that we were able to put together with WEEA. So industry educators, community organizations, and researchers should be, I believe, co-designing applied research on questions together, such as education to hire gaps, best practices for retention and succession planning. How do you perform workforce development under limited capacity? These are all questions that came from you all. that can be answered with the support of student researchers. There's over 30 research institutions between the UCs and CSUs in California that are eager to gain real life experiences. And if anybody wants help connecting with local universities or wants to brainstorm on what a project could look like or which departments to reach out to, feel free to let me know. I know Steve from CSU Water it frequents the meetings, and I have a feeling he would love to help out as well. Um, yeah, and then finally, develop shared metrics. And I think this is potentially one of the most important recommendations of all of them, creating a culture of metric development. Um, First, as an individual agency, developing or experimenting with different performance indicators is invaluable. Um, uh, I've heard from a number of leadership personnel at water agencies that they love the work that workforce development professionals are doing, but they kind of want proof of concept. They want that those numbers to be able to share with their board members to say, hey, like, this works. And the most straightforward way of doing this is to be providing performance metrics. And then broadening this to shared metrics between agencies and educators. This provides insights to the region about how workforce efforts are evolving, maybe sub-regionally, exploring them with colleges. Um, but it could also show the effects of a program. So if one program in your region or if one agency in the region starts a different program, maybe how that program did compared to how everybody else is doing things. Provides evidence that you can then maybe tell your leadership at your agency why maybe you need more resources or something. It can kind of build up just I don't know. It can provide information needed to kind of build a case for why change is needed, and the directions that you can be going. And that's all I have.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Spencer. And thank you for a lot of things, right? We met about a little over a year ago, and really things were okay, well, where can we partner? And Spencer and his team have showed up time and again to learn, to grow. This was something that I'm really proud of because the students did gain hands-on experience. They did get to understand industry better instead of designing things in their own world with their limited understanding of what our daily challenges were. They did an amazing job. I can also tell you that Spencer is a huge advocate now for the work that we do and for the industry itself. I've connected him to a lot of our contacts to help with his dissertation, who have connected them to their contacts and so on. And he's been in rooms I haven't even been invited into, right? But also he's introduced me to people who could potentially collaborate with us and help us grow. He's introduced me to someone who may even want to be a sponsor. And that's advocacy in action. And that's when I see Spencer at an event with other students, he's also advocating on our behalf with his peers. It's significant. Anytime that you get a chance to invite students in and allow them to be advocates and see our world and see themselves in it, I highly encourage you to do so because it has paid off for us tenfold. It's been a wonderful partnership, and I continue to look forward to the next steps. Great. We got a shout out from Benita. We have had a few people who needed to drop off, but before we go to break, I just want to open it up quickly. Are there any questions for Spencer before we head on to break? All right. You can hold them. And then at the very end of the meeting, I also have someone who wants to give one more good news and announcement that didn't get a chance to do that. Nick, do you have a question?
Yeah, just for Spencer, real quick. I
Thank you.
graduated from Cal State Long Beach. What's the connection with CSU Water, or what does CSU Water do?
So CSU Water is a group of, so it's led by, I believe there's 23 campuses across the state, and they bring together students and researchers. And I know they just put on a conference recently, and they do a lot of talks, webinars. I'm not part of CSU Water, so I don't actually know the full extent of their work. But definitely Steve Blumenshire,
Blumenshine. Yeah.
Blumenshine would be a wonderful person to connect with.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
All right. We're a little bit over time, not too much, but let's go ahead and take our break. And let's come back here. It's going to seem a little weird at 11:12. We're going to split the baby from the time that we had and give you still a little bit more time to stretch, but also take a deep breath. We know that when we get a chance to do that, we are fired up and ready to tackle new challenges. So we'll see you back here at 11:12, ready to jump into breakout rooms.
All right. Well, I will fill my coffee back up.
Okay, sounds good. All right, we are at 11:12. So if you are here, please turn on your camera so I know you're ready before we go into breakouts. That would be great. We might still need a few minutes. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Brenda. And Spencer and Benita, thank you. Looks like we're almost there. Wonderful.
Another great meeting, Tiffany.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad that you're able to attend and you find the value here. Okay, we did say 11:12, 11:13. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started before we jump into breakouts. We have, as we usually do, quite a few people who've jumped off, but it doesn't mean that we're not going to have some rich conversations. What we have done is taken the recommendations from this report, and I love that we do this because I can tell you that years ago, you may or may not remember this, or you may or may not know, depending on how familiar you are with this group. But in 2023, we launched a statewide workforce needs report with the Centers of Excellence for Labor Market Research. It took us 15 months to complete that work, and it gave us our pillars. So when we have an understanding of where the real challenges lie, we can stop jumping from one end of the log to the other, and we can start focusing on the things that we know are important and know that move the needle. So again, thank you to Spencer and the Water UCI team. We have created a couple of questions, and this is the gist of them. So we're going to go ahead and head into breakout rooms. We've got a facilitator who can help guide some of this conversation, and we've got a note taker. So we're going to capture everything. Don't feel like this is your last opportunity to participate. You can also share this Padlet afterwards with some of your colleagues, allow them to participate, and we're just going to keep going at these questions until we have some real solutions that we can actively work on together. So heading into breakouts.
Tiffany?
How'd we do, everyone? Pretty good? So I'd like to ask for whether it be the facilitator or someone else in the group to just share one insight from your discussions, from your breakout room. And we'll start with volunteers.
I can go, if that's okay.
Thank you, Brenda. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So in our discussion, we were in the LA room, LA region room. And one of the things that stood out to me was one of our participants talk about, don't forget about our adult learners. So that is something that as water agencies, we really have to look in how can we support those who are transitioning careers, who are maybe going to community colleges to upgrade their skills or getting a new certification. There's a lack of opportunities for those students. So that is something that we really have to have those conversations is how can we expand opportunities for our adult learners?
Thank you. How about Orange County? Yes, Alejandro, perfect.
Hello, everyone. Alejandro Garcia here. My group was Orange County. Thank you, Nicholas, Sarah, and Michael, John, for joining. And honestly, what we kind of came at the end towards a cohesive, coordinated, and organized effort to really do that outreach component as we were trying to map out what that looks like for the water occupations with, their classifications, what it takes to be in that role from the K-12 to community college and universities. But then also, when we're branching out guest speaking opportunities across all 28 school districts, as Nicholas alluded to in Orange County, if we can map that out, I think would be super useful to make it efficient and streamlined. And then the final part, Brenda, to agree with what you shared about the adult learners, we actually had that same piece. If we expand possibly 2 internships, one for early talent, K through 12, college, but then an internship maybe for those adult learners who are, shifting, transferring, or trying to get back into the water. I think that would be a great opportunity as well. But honestly, great conversation and shout out to Orange County.
Awesome. Thanks, Alejandro. Inland Empire. Anyone from Inland Empire?
Yeah, hi Tiffany. This is the other Alejandro.
Hey, Alejandro.
It was a great conversation.
Great.
One of the things that we discussed is maybe having more joint events. I talked about how Santiago Canyon College will be having an event soon where they'll have 5 to 6 water agencies do a 7-minute overview of the agency, followed by networking, by a resume review section, and mock interviews. So if we can do that similar type of event here at the Inland Empire, maybe quarterly, one time at one of the agencies, and next time at one of the community colleges, open it up to students, open it up to the community. It will be good. Again, it's not all in one agency. We can open it to the community, high school students, and the more agencies that show up, the more buy-in that we get. Because when we go to events and it's just one water agency, people think that they're just pipes and just trace jobs. But if we show up as a group and say, hey, there's multiple opportunities, you might want to learn more about it.
That really is an excellent point. I'm really glad that you brought that up because in a student's world, maybe if they haven't been introduced early to water careers, we are the water company. That's it. Like you and me, we work for the same place, and Brenda, yeah, we all work for the same place. So I think that's a really great opportunity for students to say, oh, wow. So if I apply at, let's say Eastern, or I keep checking their website and they don't have a spot in the Inland Empire, IEUA also is an option. So let me check their website, right? I think that's an awesome takeaway. So thank you for that. And then finally, let's go with NorCal statewide. Oh, actually, how about we do San Diego first?
Sure.
Yeah, I can jump in.
Thanks.
Yeah. So our team, so focusing on early career expectations, we had a lot of really good discussion, starting off simply around just awareness issues and kind of getting the word out about careers and getting people excited about the careers and the programs that are involved with that. And then, you know, it's a complicated issue about this misalignment just because everybody has each agency has such unique needs and so we discussed getting on boards at schools so for these committees so water agencies can kind of help guide the types of courses that they need to be implementing at the schools, so they're better prepared to jump into those careers. And then also, we were one of our participants gave us an example of the program that they've built between their agency and a school district in San Diego, and kind of the program that they built, and then kind of saying, well, maybe there's opportunity to weave in this specific guidance that closes that gap between getting students interested and excited and tangible direction for what exactly they need. Yeah.
I love that. And also, we talked about how some students, for example, are joining programs with lower competencies in math and other areas. And we actually met with a math teacher the other night who was disappointed by this, obviously, and really came up with a great idea. If math, how do we let students know when they're like, math is just not my thing. I'm not going to be You don't have to be a mathematician to be in the water industry. However, if you're interested in these jobs, it's going to require some math, right? Like making some of those subjects very clear that you still need your basic subject and this is how it applies. So I really appreciate that. Thank you, Spencer. And we'll close out with Stephen. If you can give us your insight from your breakout room, and then you had an announcement.
Sure. On the process, it was agreed that metrics are lacking.
Mm-hmm.
It was agreed that we don't know how to make metrics any better.
Mm-hmm.
The challenges included things like multilingual access for people that are in the education cycle, the credentialing cycle, or the on-the-job cycle. How do we know how much is language barrier a problem? We know it is, but we don't have metrics that measure what it is and or what entity would be appropriate to be the metric keeper. So another one is a student going to a community college, for example, and getting skills and perhaps a certificate, certification, associate's degree, going out to get a job. The school views success metrics as who completed the program and got a degree.
Mm-hmm.
The student views, did I gain skills and knowledge and such to get a job? The employer views, did I get a qualified candidate that is retained? But the fact that some students leave the associate degree track once they get the job, the school looks at that as a failure that they didn't have enough completions and may even shut down the program because people were successfully getting jobs. So that disconnect is apparent. In addition, there's a funding tracking process of identifying if people are coming here wanting to have summer jobs, coming from other colleges or remote, whatever, and they want to get hired into a summer job or a summer internship, there are assistance programs, but none of them really address that window of time. They're addressing the school year cycle. So how do we measure how many people are missing out on opportunities? Is that a state measurement thing? Is that a college measurement thing? So part of our struggle in metrics is what metrics should we measure and who should be the responsible party?
Perfect. And I see Melita has her hand up. She's really excited about this breakout.
Yeah, let me just speak for the community colleges. I'll speak for that. It's not just whether students complete. I want to make that clear. There's a whole bunch of other metrics, and I'll speak from the community college side of it. I mean, we look at completion rates, transfer degree levels, modalities. So I don't want to kind of bundle us in and saying we're just looking at one part. The other thing I want to say to you as well too with respect to metrics. We got a brand new industry in which we are a brand new degree program. This is the first at community college where we've had water resource management. There's going to be some transfer things, and what we find as a community college is that once students get their certification. And we want to track their data that they did get, in fact, or search, they passed the exams and they got gainfully employed. I'm be honest with you, once those students get those certificates, they don't communicate back with us. So
Here,
that's
here.
a significant gap as well for
Yeah.
us trying to be able to support your industry. So I want to get that clear. I want to make sure there's no gray area.
And Melita, truly thank you for that. I can speak for at least some of the water and energy industry that I work with, we are, especially now in this space, as we're growing and we're applying more resources, we are getting asked for metrics a lot. And it's challenging for us because there's large gaps, right, between the education side of things and where students stop communicating with you and where we're starting to gather data, or if they go on to another agency or if they leave altogether, we don't know what happens next, or we are in the future business, right? Not necessarily always what is happening in real time. So how can we predict what's going to happen to a student in your program or programs? And how does that apply to our metrics? So metrics are a huge challenge for all of us. And what I'd like to reassure everybody in this group, and I'll continue to reassure, we're going to take these recommendations over the next year. We're going to start making very concentrated polls so we can start getting to the bottom of this because it's really important. Paula.
Sorry, that was an accidental.
Oh.
Andres.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Okay, and Stephen, if you wanted to close us out with your announcement.
Sure. Well, let me first say, Melita, I'm gratified to hear that there's more than program completion by degree, because as an advisory member of multiple colleges, that seems to be what the program directors tell me, is that they're struggling with keeping funding because their students keep getting jobs. So I'm glad that there are others that are measuring other things. So yeah, if I could share.
Do you need to share your screen?
Yeah.
Okay, you got it.
So my mission and passion is to bring solutions to exactly what you all have been talking about. So Water Career Pathways was designed to build that future water workforce. And all of the things that you guys were talking about in terms of being invisible, being difficult to access, et cetera, are all the things that not just California is dealing with, not the regions within California, but the entirety of the USA and Canada are struggling with. AWWA and WEF, the drinking water and wastewater resource recovery sides of the water cycle, have a Work for Water website, but it is pretty well narrowed to the operators and that sort of service-oriented processes, and not necessarily the legal, the finance, the public relations, and all of the other elements, as was mentioned repeatedly. And I did want to try to share one other spot just to give you a sense of what is out there if we can get it in our industry. Nope. Wrong screen. I clicked on it and it moved. So the restaurant industry, and I'll just take a couple minutes here, has a pathways process that I am jealous for. So I'm going to just pick, in fact, Tiffany, if you can see the screen, pick one of these launchpad positions.
I'm going to go with cook because it's lunchtime.
Okay. So if you go into the cook and you scroll down, you can say, what are my career pathways?
Yeah.
Both same level and upper levels. And it tells you how many active jobs there are, 34,000. Tells you what the percentage salary range is, 33,000 to 42,000. And if from cook you go to chef, it gives you that information.
Love it.
I am so jealous. I want this for the water sector.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm about building. So
perfect.
I encourage any of you that want to know more to get in touch with me, and I'll put my QR code back up there and then we can break.
Sounds good. And Stephen, if you could also share the links, and if you can share your presentation with me, everyone who registered, and we had about 128 registrants. Again, we're a very flexible group coming in and out, and very understanding of busy schedules, but I think they could benefit a lot from what you've already shared. Thank you. And
Sure.
Melita actually has something.
Now, let me finish up. Stephen, I'd love to get with you. You need access to labor market information, the Koji Chancellor's office. There's a lot of information out there that you just don't have access to. So I'd love to have that conversation with you to make it accessible to you, and it might answer a few of your questions, okay? Please.
That would be great.
Okay.
All right. that's going to conclude. Oh, Melita again.
Oh, no, I'm trying to lower my hand. My apologies.
Okay.
Talked enough. I'm sorry. Okay.
Got it. No
Okay.
problem. I'm not going to throw our final slide up there. The gist is that we do not have a speaker yet for our fall session. We have options, but I want to hear from you. If you have any thoughts about who we might want to bring in for a session, or I am going to start really diving into how we can get folks to either stay, and whether that means shortening the meeting and adding meetings, which I don't really want to do, but we're open to what structure looks like. For our sponsors who are still on the call, if your sponsorship is open again July 1st, please let me know if you're still interested in sponsoring our upcoming year so that we can plan and schedule our sponsor meeting, which kicks us off in the new year. Thank you, everybody, for participating again today and showing up. Please share with other people, because this is a very rich conversation that has a lot of layers, but we're making progress. So I'm very happy about that and happy to share the space with all of you. So I hope you continue doing this great work and have a wonderful, long, relaxing holiday weekend. Thank you for joining us.